Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm gonna bring you guys some updates about this Chevy Malibu and the things that I already did, things that I already got ready to get this car back on the road. Well, hopefully get this car back on the road. Because, well, let me just tell you why I say hopefully. Let me just show you what I mean. Okay. So this is, if you guys haven't been seeing the channel a lot, this right here is the infamous vacuum pump that blows up on these engines. So let me put this right here. So this right here, we got a problem with this. This is a big chunk of just grabbing it gently. I don't want to. Some of these pieces are kind of sharp. I don't want to cut myself. So this goes right here, and as you can kind of tell, this has been like pried open, so it's no longer 100% round. And then I grabbed these other pieces over here, and I kind of put them in place, and I can still find that there are pieces missing from what I was able to pick up. Now, not all of the parts are metal. This big one is aluminum, and I'll show you. This is a magnet, okay? And I'll prove it to you, because if I put it right here on this part in the middle or anywhere down here, it'll stick to it pretty good. And I'm pulling on it. You see this? I'm pulling on it and it's not coming off. That means it's metal. Over here, same thing. It's metal. Now, the outside is aluminum. This outer edge is aluminum. So this outer edge that broke off, not all of the pieces are back. I wasn't able to pick up all of the pieces because this is what was around the cylinder head that I was able to pick up. All these pieces I had to use, well, I don't have it with me, but I had to use needle nose pliers and other kind of pliers to be able to get into spaces and grab the pieces. Now, as you can see, I'm putting it right here. This is aluminum. Aluminum. All of this right here, it's aluminum. Now I grab one of these other pieces, it's metal. I'll show you again. Let me just get another piece over here. Metal, as you can see. Okay, so get off. Okay. Now, that can cause some trouble because, well, let's just say you find that there's a piece of aluminum of one of these right here that is in a very, very bad spot. Well, then you're gonna have to most likely take off whatever's in the way to get that piece out. And pretty much what's in the way would be like a camshaft, and to take that off, well, that's gonna be a nightmare. Also, you got the I think those are called roller followers. And yeah, so I wasn't able to get all of them. I did drain the oil already. I got it somewhere over there. I put this magnet down in the oil. I did not pick up anything. So I'm guessing the since let me just tell you what really happened if you guys are new to this issue here with this Malibu. So what really happened at first was that my clients or my friends here, they were driving. They were going to go to the airport to pick up someone of their family. So now uh, they were about, I would say, about an hour and a half away from the airport, but they were already 3 hours away from their house. And their car, um, they were on the highway. They were like going 60, 70 miles an hour. All of a sudden, the lady was telling me that um, RPMs went through the roof, and the next thing they noticed is that the RPMs dropped immediately, and check engine light started flashing, and immediately they decided, okay, let's get off on the very next exit. They would hit the gas pedal and barely any power, so it was on limp mode. And then after that, the when they were pressing the brakes, they basically lost all of the brake pressure. So they were hoping nobody would brake instantly in front of them. So immediately they got to the nearest auto parts store, and they got to an AutoZone right next to the exit. And that's when they turned it off. That was it. It did not turn back on. So I'm guessing that when those RPMs went through the roof, that's when the vacuum pump got destroyed. I'm guessing that's when it got destroyed, because these things do not give you any signs saying, "Hey, you got to replace me, or I'm about to bust out." It doesn't do that. So it just blew up out of nowhere, and RPMs went through the roof while on the highway. On the highway, and so luckily they were able to make it safe to the auto parts store. They turned off the car. It didn't turn on again after that. So I'm guessing through that time, while they got to the auto parts store and turned it off, some parts were still moving around. And I'm guessing that the parts, the little pieces that I'm missing to complete that outer circle, those pieces must be somewhere else in the engine, because I just can't find them. I don't see anything else. Since this little magnetic little stick, it can pretty much fit through any hole in this engine. And I just threw it down as far as I could, and it did not feel anything. Um, so I'm guessing that those are either on the pickup. I don't know. They could be on the oil pan. I don't know. The thing is, they want me to repair the car with no rush, but they want me to repair it. And they already doing plans to sell it to somebody else or trade it in for something else. They're already in the planning mode for what they're gonna do with this car, because they bought this car 6 months ago. 6 months ago with 126,000 miles, and right now it's got 131,000 miles on the clock. So 5,000 miles later, just before they were already, planning on taking this car to get an oil change, just before they did that, it blew out. Now you can't tell me that this vacuum pump gets destroyed because of lack of maintenance. The thing is, they only had the car for 5,000 miles, and they told me that the dealership where they bought it from guaranteed to them that they changed the oil. I can't say, because when I did check the oil, it was black, pretty black. And since it was about 5,000 miles after they bought it, can't really say, if it was or wasn't changed. So I can't say. And these, my friends here, they didn't take the car to get an oil change after they bought it. I mean, if you ever buy a used car, do not trust what the dealer tells you. The dealer's just trying to sell you a car at whatever cost. If they have to lie to you, they will lie to you. Okay? So, if you buy a car with a certain amount of miles and they tell you, because you see, for example, it's at 85,000 miles, it's spitting out a number. For example, 85,000 miles. You know, every 5,000 miles, well, I mean, if you are a person who's on maintenance all the time with your vehicles, then at 85,000 miles, you know the car needs an oil change. If they haven't done it yet. One way to find out if they let you is take out that dipstick. Check if that oil is new or if it's old. If it's black or brown, then they lied to you. But if it's gold, like a golden yellow, then yeah, it's brand new oil. Then they're telling you the truth. But not all dealerships will let you take out the dipstick just because you asked them. No, not everybody does that. So, yeah, that's up to you. I mean, what I would do is take the car immediately to get an oil change. I don't care what they tell me. I don't care. If the engine oil was brand new, perfect. You know, I just wasted that, but who cares? You know, I'm just trying to protect my investment. That's one way to protect your investment. Okay? Do the oil change immediately when you get the car. The day after or that afternoon after you buy the car. Just do it. It's for your benefit. So for that matter, I don't know. I don't know if that was true or not. Now, these vacuum pumps, they like to get hot. And since it's a mixture of aluminum and metal, which I think it's alright, but the point of having a part that doesn't really need to exist kind of makes it a nonsense part to have on a vehicle. That's my point of view here. Anyways, let's get to the other things, because I have already got the hoses that I'm going to use to replace the plastic or nylon hoses that come in this stupid engine. Let me just show you what I have right here. So I'm going to be reusing this part right here. So this had a nylon hose going to one of the PCVs. This one was going to the other PCV at the back side of the valve cover. And this end was going directly to the intake pipe. Which, by the way, that brings me to another thing. Would you consider this? Would you consider this to be good or bad? If you say you don't know, then I understand. But if you say that this is good, then you need to do your research. This is actually really, really bad for your engine, especially a turbo direct injected engine. It's very, very bad. Look at it. Look at it drip. Just look at it drip. Okay. Yes, it's a little humid outside, but it's like this because it had oil inside of there. So how does the oil get into this part? That's a really good question, right? So this hose, this connector right here, had a hose that would go to this part. So it was like this, and then these other two ends over here would go to the engine, the PCV valves on the engine. These PCV valves have a high tendency of letting through oil. instead of just gases or vapors or air or anything else other than liquids. That's the point of it. It's a positive crankcase vent, and those vents they let engine oil go through. So that engine oil goes through and eventually comes through here. It packs itself up in here, and then since there is air going through this pipe going to the turbo, so this part goes mounted like this in the car. Turbo is right here. Air filter is over here. So this comes down this way and it goes in. It goes in. And the turbo, since it's pulling in air, sucks all of that in. And then you got a messed up inlet for the turbo. I'll show you right now. Well, can't really show you. I'll just put a picture here on the screen of how that turbo looks right now. So these hoses are going to be the ones to replace the nylon hoses that came in this car. Let me show you. Okay. So these are the nylon hoses right here. I mean, come on, guys. This, not flexible. Not flexible. This, very flexible. Okay? So these hoses are meant for one-time use only. One-time use only. Okay? These hoses are a major pain, because eventually they will get so brittle, and it happens often apparently. It gets so brittle that the moment you even try to lift the valve cover out of the engine, they will snap. So if you want the actual replacement, you're looking at a hefty price coming from the dealership. For any of these hoses, you're looking probably at $100 per hose. Okay? I'm like, dang, man, that's really bad. And then then I want to bring another thing here. I want to let you guys know that I was mistaken about something that I had mentioned earlier on a shorts that I put up. I want to mention this. So you see these hold on. I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm about to talk about. Hold on. Put that there so it won't fall. You guys see what I'm, yeah, okay. All right, so on this valve cover, there are two bolts. You see these right here? These are temper proof or temper resistant. Basically means the same thing. So this one right here and the one right here. So these two bolts, when I found out there is a drive bit that fits in here, I was assuming that you can take these off with that drive bit. But when I look at the repair manual and I look at it with detailed eyes, it says something that a viewer, that a commenter said. Let me go back. Put that there. And let me show you what shows up on the repair manual. Okay. Let me just put you in the... Alright, so let me just tilt this downward. Okay. Well, went too far down. Alright, so there is the PCV vent part where it talks on the manual. And the red part is the bolt, the tamper-proof bolt. So if we come down here, we come in down to where it says caution. And we read this, it says, the PCV line is tamper resistant and must always be replaced once it is removed. Let that sink in for a second. It is the line. So the entire plastic hose or the nylon hose is tamper resistant and must always be replaced once it is removed. The fittings connected to the PCV line must also be replaced if they are damaged when the PCV line is removed. To reduce the risk of damage to the fittings, use a suitable cutting tool and carefully cut the connections away. Interesting. So, yes, we're not talking right now about about the bolts, but that part is talking about these right here. These, the nylon hoses. So you look at that and it's telling you cut the hose away, which is exactly what I had done. And I had not read that part just yet. It said cut it off. Cut the lines away. Because, let me show you why it says that. Yeah, I gotta... These parts right here, this part right here, and this part over here, they're very, very cheap. So if you force this out, there's a very high chance it will break. Same thing with this one over here. Very high chance it will break. So they're automatically telling you, cut these hoses off and replace them with new ones. Replace them with new ones, right? Okay, so that's something that I had not read, and I found it to be interesting when I saw it. Now let's go back to the bolts themselves. Okay. Okay, let's go to the bolts. Now, procedure. Using a suitable tool, cut a slot in the tamper-resistant positive crankcase vent bolt heads and remove with a flat-bladed tool. Discard bolts. So there was a commenter who said this same thing right here. I'm guessing he had the repair manual. I didn't have it when I made that video. This is where I made my mistake, mentioning that you can use the drive bit, the special drive bit. And here's why I say a lot the word special, because down here it says special tools EN 50956 tamper proof drive bit. Okay, that's why I say the word special. Some people don't like it when I say that word. I don't know why. So the my mistake was, let me clarify this. My mistake was I had said that you can use that drive bit to remove the bolt. But over here it says, on where it says note, bolt is a one-time use only. Will need to be slotted, then removed, then replaced. So that means the drive bit, that special drive bit, is still useless because it's only to tighten that tamper-proof bolt. It is not to remove it. That sucks. So I just want to clarify that to everybody watching this and watching my channel. I made the mistake of mentioning that, and I am owning it. I admit it. I was wrong. So the correct way, even though it's a long way, but the correct way of doing this is cut the like it says here, cut a slot in the tamper-proof or tamper-resistant bolt, and use a flathead to take it off and, well, trash it afterwards. So the best thing you can do is get a cutting wheel and do the same thing as it's saying here on the manual. That's the best thing that anybody can do right now. And just replace it with something else. But it doesn't say here the risk of taking that out, but doesn't say any risk at all. There you can see how it looks, the entire part. Apparently you should be able to take it off without it breaking. Apparently. But I've seen people pulling on it. Let me just I've seen people pulling on this part right here, pulling up while they pry, and what has happened is that this part right here breaks off, and then the other half of the PCV is in there. So at the same time, you're like, wait a second, I got this bolt off, and this is giving me a hard time to come out, and it broke off. So I would say the best thing that anybody can do is replace the hoses, the nylon hoses, with rubber hoses, and never have to deal with this unless this goes bad. Same thing with the one on the other side. Same thing with this one. Only mess with this if it goes bad. If you know it goes bad, if you know this is causing you engine problems, then take this off and mess with it. But otherwise, in my opinion, do not touch it unless you have to. Don't touch it unless you have to. And I would say the same thing about this guy. Do not mess with it. Leave it alone. Just replace the hoses, the nylon hoses, with rubber hoses, and you're good. Because those hoses you can take off, put on, take off, and put on all the times that you actually really want. Wow, it's really windy out here. So, something else that happened is right here. Check that out. That edge right there broke off because the vacuum pump destroyed it. And when I took off that seal right there, which was in here, I saw it. I was like, wait, what? So the valve cover has some damage also. And I forgot to show you the inside of it. Show the inside. The inside is horrible, nasty. And this right here is not so good either. Not so good. It's got a little bit of damage around here, this part. But you can tell this little valve cover, this engine, was not very well maintained. Just look at the varnish, the color of the inside of this valve cover. If this engine was maintained correctly, this darkness wouldn't be here. At least the entire valve cover, the inside would have been like this right here. But seeing that it's all dark over here, so this right here is the intake side of the valve cover. This over here is the exhaust side. so the intake side was not receiving very good oil, because the rest of it looks a little better, but this side over here, this part right here and all of this other side, it was bad, very bad. So I think to finish off this video, because I'm just now going to go ahead and start putting everything back on. That right here is the new vacuum pump. Brand new vacuum pump. Got the gasket here, valve cover gasket. Let's see. Oh, I almost forgot. So the seal that goes in here, is this one, and you can't really find it unless you go to a dealership. AutoZone, any auto parts don't sell this. Not even Rock Auto sells this. You have to get this from the dealership. So here is the parts number. It is 12668429. I paid about $9 for this. Okay, so this is the seal that goes here, and then you put the vacuum pump in through that seal. Yeah. And lastly, this is the splicer that I'm going to use for the hose that's going to go from one last time. The hose that's going to go from this part right here to the turbo. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I think this this car should be ready to roll today on the next video that you guys will see. The car should be ready to go. I'm hoping that nothing else happens to this engine, so I can get this car back in my friend's hands and they can do whatever they want to do with this car. Afterwards, they can light it on fire, throw it down the bridge, or whatever. But the thing is, they need to get rid of it. The oil catch can that I was probably going to put on this car to help them out with the situation with the engine oil going through the PCVs and hoses. I was probably going to do that, but not going to do it. It turns out I'm missing one accessory from the catch can itself, and if I want to get a replacement, it's too expensive for one little thing. So I'm like, nah, forget it. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you found this info helpful, beneficial for you. If you have this car or any Buick, Chevy, or GMC with this engine, reevaluate what you have. Think about it. This engine has a lot of other issues. So in my opinion, would be to trade it in, get rid of it as soon as you can. Do not drive a lot of miles with this car. Otherwise, it will leave you stranded somewhere. Yeah, so that's it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.